Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the film session in the draft class for 2026. And the summer league that I'm doing, trying to do one player, each player from the first round. We're going to get into Darius Acuff today. Just going to start off with the first possession actually of the game, which I thought was pretty cool. We're just going to let this play a little bit, and all that is super cool, right? So this is basically, it looks maybe like a pin down screen into it looks almost like a pin down into a sideball screen, maybe like a direct handoff variant of some kind, which you kind of like to see out of Darius here. This is really cool. Like he gives the ball up here, he goes into the pin down, and this action, it's almost a zoom, but not quite, because there's no direct handoff here. But I like this action, which you don't see a lot in this game. They run a lot of high ball screen, a lot of high spread screens. So hopefully that's not their offense the entire time during the regular season. It seems very basic, but this creates a really great angle. This is really good timing. This is really quick transition. All this is great, man. I wish there had been more of this in the game in general. We're then going to get into I want to say this is this isn't bad defense, and I honestly don't even know if this is directly his fault, but he's going to get hit on this screen here at the top, and there's a couple things here that I think are worth noting. So he's at the top of your screen here. You got Braden Burries. All right, he kind of gets trapped on the screen there. Braden is able to get to the paint and get the foul call, right? So originally when I saw this, I was like, man, this is Darius kind of dying on the screen up here, but there's a few things. One, this might just be really bad, screen navigation. And, in most cases, you want to get thin, especially up here where there's not a lot of space. Him and his big could have talked here as well, because maybe this is supposed to be drop coverage, and his big doesn't drop back for him to actually allow him to get better action here. So I wouldn't say this is directly blame on Darius or even bad effort, because he his the screener I think does a really good job as well. But I don't think he really quit on this play. But he should have gotten skinnier. He needs to have earlier recognition here to know what the way that he needs to actually get around this. And his big is a little out of sorts here, I think, as well. Just gonna watch this one more time so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here up here at the top. All right, cool. And we're gonna move on to the next one. You're gonna see him kind of pass this in. He's gonna get the ball back off of that screen. So this is actually, a really good read by Darius Acuff. I think and you're going to see this throughout the entire video. He just his timing or his execution is kind of off. Which kind of makes you think his feel is a little weird here, because this is he sees the actual correct play here, and because he basically sees the actual angle. There's the correct read here in the lane. It's so all that stuff is good. So this is actually a really good example of separating process from results here, right? Acuff reads the correct coverage. The big really connects to him, and his roller opens up. This is the right pass. The problem is just the execution. The ball comes out just a beat late. It's just not quite where it needs to be, so it doesn't give the roller the right chance to roll into space. Which gives his defender enough time to kind of read the pass and knocks it out here. Let's watch it one more time. So all that is correct. He just doesn't quite get it there the way he needs to get. So this is maybe 2 plays later, so 2 possessions, and this is another high pick and roll situation. It's another bounce pocket pass, but this time he really reads it correctly again, but his timing is much better here, right? Yeah, so he basically splits right here. And all that is great, man. So all this is really good. This in transition, boom, he throws it between both players. I think that is the right read there. All right, we're now going to get Acuff on the break here. This is like a pretty good, fast break situation. This is something that he did a lot in Arkansas. The good here is he immediately looks to attack, right? So, and this is something that he kind of does in the game entirely, is he's very aggressive. His eyes are up in transition. Again, the issue is just not good execution. It's also not a great pass selection. We're going to watch this live. There's just like no real chance of him to, get this play to actually go. Watch, yeah, so he gets it here. I think that's Nick Clifford down here at the bottom. And Nick just really has no chance to actually finish that play. But I mean, this is really like a good example of like passing vision versus passing judgment. I think obviously Acuff identifies the correct opportunity here. He just chooses to pass with a really high degree of difficulty, which just in general will end up being another live ball turnover. All right, we're actually going to get some like a clip here of really good defense by Darius Acuff. I know that a lot of people, think that his defense is, completely it's gone and it's very putrid. But I think this is a really good job here. It shows that he is very capable as a defender, but he does a really nice job here of staying attached to the ball handler. He doesn't allow the screen to really create a clean advantage. And this is some of the stuff that you really want to see if your main guy here is doing a really good job on that point of attack. So all of this, from the very beginning of the game, where we're saying that he wasn't getting skinny enough. He hits this screen a couple times and he does a good job of. I'm not sure if him and the big are actually talking now or not. I'm not on the court, so it's very hard for me to see. But this is like a basic another high ball screen from the Bucks here, and his footwork's good. He recovers very well here. And beyond that, I think just showing extra effort and fighting here is awesome. We'll watch this entirely one more time. He's going to fight it again, which is great. His big should probably be in a better drop coverage there. So I wouldn't even say that that's, directly his fault, because, he got screened twice. I think, the help defense really needs to be there as well. All right, now we're going to get into a really good, you call it like a slip screen or maybe a ghost screen nowadays. You got Neek on the ball here. He's going to pass over to Caldwell. A little bit of a ghost screen here. He also does a good job of fighting off of this defense. This guy's literally holding his arms. He gets loose here. He's going to pop right around Caldwell and steps right into that three. So that's a really good just use of the space that his big creates for him. He's able to just kind of really turn that really well. We're going to watch it in full speed. Nick Clifford gives it to Caldwell. He does a little pin down there. He gets loose, a little ghost, and that's kind of just what Acuff's able to do there, just off the dribble. We're gonna get another, good skip pass here that it just really shows off, his vision. It's another just basic high pick and roll, but he's gonna initiate from around the right slot. His big's gonna come up and set the screen. His weak side man here in the corner does a really good job at just creating more of that spread. And then he's going to fire a one-handed skip pass that looks great. All right, so he's going to get back. He's going to get the ball back here. And then he kind of just resets. He sees his man, gets his high ball screen. Man, just awesome timing there. And his ability to get that just live on the right hand to skip it a pass, a couple people is just really, really cool. Let's watch the entire sequence here. Because if he throws this, slower or higher, it will not get there. So, just everything here is really, really good. Just really good patience. And just, man, through, almost three people there. Just super, super, really high level stuff there. All right, our next clip here, you got Braden Braze on the ball here. There's going to be another, high pick and roll here. He's going to give the ball up, I believe, to the small forward. And you've got Acuff on the strong side of the ball in the top right corner here. He's in the helper position. The issue is he just kind of just stands there. He doesn't, basically, he doesn't do a good job of doing rim deterrence. He doesn't make the driver hesitate. He doesn't do anything to help his teammate kind of, recover. So in the ideal situation here, you're wanting to slow up the person coming right to the rim. Maybe have them do like a force gather or maybe like a kick out. But he just doesn't really help here. And I'll pause it to let you know where he is. So this is Acuff here in the corner, guarding number 26 during all this action. He's watching the ball here. He's kind of like showing his chest there. Then he turns. So he sees that this is the correct helper action. And he kind of needs to like rotate to some degree. Then here he really needs to be rotating. And he just stands here while this man just gets like a free run. So you would just rather in general him do a little bit more there to help. And I don't know, you're kind of going to see a few times like, this is, him being risk averse, which is what we saw in Arkansas. All right, here you're going to get Acuff on the ball. You've only got 11 seconds here by the time he actually gets it. So it is a low clock situation. And, so this is one of the things why you want Acuff, because he's able to get to spots and drive in. My issue here is there's other movements here that he could have made to have gotten like an easier shot off here, and you watch it full time. He's got Burries on him. He does a good job of getting away from Burries, but then he takes like a really, really hard shot there. Now, what I would rather like to see, let's watch it again here, is I would rather have seen him maybe go to a few different types of moves here. He doesn't really create, so he does a good job at creating a initial advantage. So he's got maybe like 2 feet of space. There's no panic in him, which is great, but he doesn't recognize that the advantage is gone once he starts to actually drive towards the paint. Burries recovers very well, and this is something that he was able to do in college a lot, which is why I had him at like number 6 on my board. But there is a help defender waiting for him. The rim is crowded. He forces a really hard shot, which is some stuff that he did at Arkansas. But in those situations, he hit a lot of those tough shots. So what I would rather have seen here is maybe like a step back jumper. He could do like a hard pull up as he's going in. I think maybe like doing a floater here is probably a little bit safer, or even doing a escape dribble. But unfortunately, he doesn't see that. He kind of just doesn't do any of that. So it's just it just creates a really, really tough shot and ends up is this miss. So like as you're gonna see, he's gonna reset here. He creates an advantage here, and right there, like pulling up for a step back, or maybe like as he's going in, but instead Burries is right on his hip here, and it just doesn't work in his favor. All right, we're gonna get into another, unfortunately, like a bad play on defense, because he does do the things correctly. So you're gonna see Darius rotate into the lane. He acts as the low helper, but then he doesn't really help in any type of meaningful way to create rim resistance. So he basically just allows this this person to just get into the lane, and then is able to get like a pretty good shot at the rim, and then he gets fouled. So this is gonna be like another basic high pick and roll, which I think here this is good stuff from Acuff. So he basically comes off this screen here. He decides to kind of hang here once he sees what's going on, which is the correct read. He's gonna leave his man here, which is a little dangerous, but if he seems to be correct in terms of what this out of bound action is going to be. But there's other things that he could have done here. So right here, he could be meeting the driver early because he knows it's coming, because that's what he saw. He can try to take the contact here, but he kind of gets caught between not knowing if he needs to get back or if he needs to kind of come up here. So there's good help. I don't know. His help defense instincts, I think, are maybe right, but his effort is just not right here. And basically what happens is he doesn't commit to this foul. He doesn't jump to try to stop this. He kind of just, honestly, he just gets out of the way. But that's definitely how it looks to some degree here. All right, we're going to move into another situation where Acuff is able to get the ball. I don't know if it bounces right to him or it's handed to him, but he's able to get into another fast break situation. And again, his the the vision is correct. He's just his overall, process, I guess, in terms of getting the ball to his teammate is just not quite there. All right, so we're going to get him on the break here. He has Neek again, who's going to be on his right side. All right, now he's pushing the pace, which is really, really good, and he again sees the correct read. It's just the timing of this pass and its placement is just not, it's just a little, it's just not quite there. So he sends this a little too far ahead and it's late. So he can't really stay on the lane that he's taking, and this gives the defender a good chance to actually recover here. And I'm hoping that this isn't a repeatable pattern as we get into, as we get farther into Vegas and everything else. But this is definitely something that he's able to, work on here. But it ends up making him have to take this wide lane, which allows this guy to kind of come over, and he has to make a really hard play. And, he's like a power forward. So he's not going to be able to actually make this play here. So, he kind of just bounced off, and this is another live ball turnover. So, we'll just watch this kind of in full time here so you can kind of see exactly what I'm talking about. So if he throws his pass a little bit, different or earlier, I think, or maybe even a little bit later, once a person has maybe decided to commit onto Acuff instead, he just, doesn't quite get there. And, so it's just a little inconsistent with his touch, but, and we will see this again later on. All right. We're going to get into a late clock situation. You see that there's 35 seconds here. The Bucks see that it is a 2-for-1 situation. He's going to take a quick pull up. Doesn't quite get it. You're going to get Darius here with the ball. Now, I don't know if the coach calls for just a basic to just slow it down. He turns his head here, so I don't know if that's what the coach is saying, but you've got about 30 seconds here. So I would have liked to have seen him push this again and get into another 2-for-1 here. But instead, he really slows this up. And, he's really just going to take his time here. He's going to wait. The defense has time to actually reset here. He's not going to go until about, 10 or so seconds. So I don't know. This might be bad clock awareness. I would have rather him seen them go 2-for-1, get the actual final shot. The shot quality he ends up getting is not great. But again, I don't know if this is the, coach's choice here. So he's going to work here a little bit. He sees the clock. I think he finally starts to go. At this point, there's just no way for him to get a good shot. There's no way for him to actually try to play make here either, because he just continues to dribble into really hard coverage here and ends up throwing up, a weird shot. It goes in because that's just kind of what Acuff's able to do, is he's able to hit really tough shots. They almost get a turnover here. Not quite. Then you get this situation where they have a little bit of time. He ends up hitting a 3 here, almost at the buzzer. So they end up giving up. I mean, there's a 1-point difference here, but I don't know. Just in general, I would rather have seen that be a little bit more aggressive. We're going to move into the third quarter here. And I think in general, this is a really good defensive stance. There's a few screens here that he's going to have to, navigate here. Again, it's just more high pick and flow. It goes into a secondary action. I'm not exactly sure what the secondary action is here, but he's doing a really good job. Again, navigates really well here. He's really doing a good job of staying engaged. He's really fighting through this one, but he does a good job of getting skinny here. Once again, then he's doing a good job of kind of keeping himself in really good space here. He then does a good job of helping here. It's almost a tag. It's not quite, but he does a good job of not allowing number 23 here to kind of dive down. Then he cuts back really quick to 26, which is in general and then he has really great recovery because he understands exactly where this is going to go, and he ends up getting a really good block here. I love all that effort. Is so good. You would hope to see it a little bit more often with Darius, because it's obviously it's very capable. It's there. So we're gonna watch this a little bit faster. Him just getting skinny there. Does a good job. He sees his screen, comes back around, cuts him off. There's another high ball screen here. Caldwell, kind of comes in. He does a good job of helping, and then he recovers very, very well. So all that is great, man. So obviously that ability is there. You just don't see it all the time with him, which is it's always just kind of weird. I don't know if he just wants to save himself for offense, but I think all that is just really awesome. All right, we're gonna get into almost like an out of bounds here. I believe the Bucks have just made a shot. Darius looks up. He sees that his man is actually cutting backdoor here, and so he's gonna decide to be a little like early aggressive here. He tries to throw like a really strong lead pass. The issue is he does not do this aggressively enough. So the early advantage that he sees, he's not really able to take advantage of. Like, again, this is the correct offensive mindset to have. Just being like very aggressive, keeping the Bucks on their heels. He does a good job of looking ahead and seeing this. He just either he doesn't respect the Bucks and how they are retreating, or he doesn't see that they're beginning to actually collapse. Either way, this pass just doesn't really get there, and this is just another pattern recognition thing here, where it's very ambitious. I like it. It's just again his execution is just very like inconsistent here. His touch is just not great. It's not really a concern. Yeah, I mean, this game, it was a concern. Maybe they were just like, playing him very, very well, but this is a really, really hard pass to do. And it ends up being another live ball turnover. All right, now we're going to get some out of bounds action here. Acuff is the initiator. This is a slob, which is you're just in general a sidelines out of bounds action. You're going to get Acuff. I don't know. He knows that Neek is coming through here. I wish he had seen how tight this defender is on him. He's playing very, very aggressive, and he's playing for the pass. And this is just, a super telegraph. This man is already cutting in between Neek here. And, this pass needs to be over his left shoulder to really have a chance here, because instead it's low and it's not really where it needs to be. It's not fast enough. And this is another live ball turnover here, which I believe ends up in a fast break score. We're going to watch that in full time there. All right, he's going to get the ball. You can kind of see Neek cuts, and he's just already like ahead of that pass. This is also in the third quarter. This is going to be a really good, just in general, like creation. There is a really simple, 2-on-1, pick and roll here. You see this 1,000 times a game. He does a good job to manipulate the person that is retreating to the rim. This is really good patience here by him. Like, his man is on defense is having to like stick here, which is going to give Caldwell a really great chance to actually get behind the defense. This is a really great pass. Like, all this is awesome. Now, the only issue here is maybe Acuff could have gone up for the score. I think this is him being a little too unselfish, but it's still a really, really great read. Just he operates perfectly here. Caldwell, he gets Caldwell, just so much space here, and he just completely blows it. I'm totally fine with this. So, like at this point, maybe he can pull up, but even then, it's gonna be a really hard shot. Burry's gonna probably get behind him here, but Caldwell maybe he's calling for the lob here, but either way, he completely blows it. I think that's just really good creation from Acuff. This is gonna go. It's also in the third quarter. Once again, he's trying to lead on the break here. Neek's going to get it out to him, and he throws a little too wild of a pass. This isn't really correct risk assessment, but I like that he's trying to attack early here. He throws just, an over-the-head one-arm pass, and it's just way off. Caldwell has no chance here. If he, makes just a simpler pass, this is, a really easy score. So I think this is great pace. He sees the cutter. He just doesn't, he kind of forces the pass into like a closing window, so to speak. He creates another live ball turnover. So I don't know. It's just like his vision is correct the entire game. He does all that is really good and positive, and he's super aggressive, trying to get the Bucks on their heels. He does a good job of pushing the break. He just doesn't see that this pass is over and it's super off target. If he throws maybe like a bounce here instead, Caldwell has a really good chance to actually go up. Or if he continues to drive here, maybe he can hit the man in the corner. Instead, he just throws this way off, and ends up being another turnover. We are now in the fourth quarter. I think Acuff has maybe been in for a minute, and this is another, just really good job at, screen, navigation. This isn't really a Gortat. This is just more of another, high ball here, but, He does a good job at reading the defense, which is another big positive. He attacks really, decisively, that there's no hesitation in his movements here. And he creates a really good quality, opportunity here. Now, he misses through contact. I don't know if this is a foul or not, but, he kind of gets knocked off of his line and, ends up missing the shot. But I like all this. You see him go here. He sees that he has an advantage. Boom. Like he takes this lane. There's no real passing direction here. The defense is doing a good job of collapsing, and he gets really in here. Now, I think the big does hit his arm, and he really knocks it. He doesn't get that call there, but we're going to see it here live. He takes his man, just doesn't quite get it. This is a little bit late. It's like a minute later. It's a little strange. I don't want to say that he traps himself here, but it's definitely the read ends up not being correct. You've got, he patiently begins to set up, and then he decides to take the lane that is really hard here towards the sideline as these screens kind of get set up here for him at the top. So at this point, you can kind of see, Caldwell's man is just kind of like hiding behind here. And, this isn't here in the middle, so he can't really do anything there. What I would have rather seen him do is maybe reject this screen, but instead he really commits to a lane that's just not there and doesn't counter this current coverage. So he could maybe back towards the middle. He could have just pulled back out and reset. Instead, he puts himself in a terrible position, and his foot hits the out of bounds here, which is another turnover. And then here, I wanted to just add this in because this is just Acuff doing Acuff things, which is why you draft him at number 7. This is late in the game. There's only 3 points left. The Bucks have really had them kind of on the ropes here, and Acuff is basically able to end the game with this shot. Kind of just rocks this man to sleep, hits a little step back there, or a side step actually, I guess technically. He just does a good job at getting his defender leaning one way. He creates really good, separation here. It's not a huge, sidestep, but it's good enough to get him the space he needs. This is just, I think in general, really good shot, selection. This is kind of like a 4-out. They are going to spread out, to a certain degree here. So there's no real passing lanes. This is kind of just just classic basketball. It's really great. This is just his ability to have that confidence in himself, So, just watching him, he kind of rocks him a little bit here, going between the legs. He gets his man, kind of angling like he's going to drive. And right there, he has to switch back. He takes that advantage there and just steps. And his man's just a little late. He creates about maybe 12 inches of space here and gets a shot off and just ends the game, man. Super, super good stuff. So in general, there was some good stuff here with Acuff. The defense, I think there is something there. I think he can be a good, or at least an adequate defender, just based on certain effort, because he is listening to his coaches in terms of where he needs to be. It's just, he continues to be risk adverse. And I don't know if he's just afraid maybe to get hurt or if he's afraid to, pick up fouls, but all that's good. I think his passing vision was correct. He had so many good reads in terms of where it needs to be. It could be just a complete timing thing with his teammates. He just doesn't know exactly, if they're fast enough to get to certain shots, or maybe he's used to playing with better athletes, which could very well be the thing, with him playing with Trevor Brazil and Mitch Richmond, I believe. No, I'm sorry, Mitch Richmond, Billy Richmond, and when he was in school in Arkansas. So I think he can really blow up here in Vegas and have some awesome moments, but there's some good stuff here, man. And I'm excited to watch him going forward this year. Be sure to come back. I'll be doing another film session as we get farther into Vegas. Thanks for listening.